Hello class, a very warm welcome in today's session. In today's session we are going to continue our chapter that was elements and compounds, and today we are going to start with the very part 2 of this session. So in today's session we are going to study that what are the components of elements and compounds. Okay, so when we talk about the elements and compound, we have studied that elements can't be broken down into simpler substances, and on the other hand compounds are made up of two or more elements, right? And in today's session we are going to study that what are the components of elements and compounds, like from which components the elements and compounds are made up of. Okay, so elements and compounds are made up of atoms. Now what are these atoms? The question arises, we are going to study that further. However, molecule is the smallest particle of matter that can exist independently. But when we talk about any kind of particle that can exist independently, that we can call as molecule. So molecule is the smallest particle that can exist independently. But further, molecules can be broken down into atoms, but they can't exist independently, right? Let us learn about that what are atoms and molecules in detail. Okay, so moving ahead, we have the definition of atom over your screen. So you can see that an atom is the smallest particle of an element which possesses all the properties of that element and may or may not have independent existence. Now what does it mean? Let me just give you an example. If I am talking about magnesium, so when I am talking about magnesium, and if I am saying you that I have two different atoms of magnesium, so can I say that I am having different atoms? No. Why? Because magnesium is a single kind of element, right? So magnesium's atom will have same properties, right? If I am saying the size of one atom is like this, so the other will be also like this. Okay, and if I am saying the weight of this one is, let's say, x, so other one will have also the mass as x. Okay, so whenever we are taking a single element, the different atoms of that particular element will have same properties and identical sizes as well. Okay, so that's why it is written here that an atom is the smallest particle of an element which possesses all the properties of that element and may or may not have independent existence. Now what is independent existence? If we can just take the atom independently or not, that is what is known as independent existence. Let me just give you another case. If I am talking about helium, so helium is an element which can exist independently. Now why I am saying that it is an element which can exist independently? Because we always write helium in this form, that is monoatomic form. So that's how we can say that any atom may or may not exist independently. But in the case of hydrogen, what happens? You know very well that we write hydrogen atom or hydrogen gas or hydrogen molecule as H2, which is the diatomic form. So this is a molecule, this is not an atom, and that's why we can say an atom may or may not can exist independently. But now we are moving ahead with the next one, that is the characteristics of atom. Now we are going to study the characteristics or the properties of atom, that what are atoms and how they are behaving. Okay, so the very first characteristic is the atoms of most elements are very reactive and do not exist as free atoms. Most of the elements have the atoms which are very reactive. Now why we are saying very reactive? Because they react eventually with any one of the element that has other atom, right? But now in the case of example, you can see here that in nature hydrogen atoms do not exist as single atoms. I have told you already that hydrogen doesn't exist independently or in the single form. They exist in the diatomic form, right? So they are found in combination with other atoms or the atoms of the same element, that is hydrogen, which means that it can combine itself with other atoms of the elements like Cl. So we can just write it as HCl. And it can only combine with itself to form molecule of hydrogen gas. Okay, so it cannot exist independently. That's why it is combining itself with the same element, that is the hydrogen, or the other atoms of the other elements. Right? Moving ahead, you can see the next point is all atoms of an element are similar or identical. Now what this means, that I have told you, when I am taking the case of magnesium, there I have told you that the atom of magnesium, if I am taking 3 atoms, 4 atoms, 5 atoms, those all will have identical shapes. Okay, so for example, a lump of gold consists of only one type of atom. They exhibit the same properties. Okay, so any lump of gold, if I am taking a lump of gold, so every particle, every atom will have the same properties that of the gold. Okay, that's the 2 characteristics of atoms. Now moving ahead, we have the third one. The atoms of one element are different from those of other elements. Obviously this is going to be done because if I am taking magnesium and I am taking chlorine, so magnesium's atom will have different property, and when I am talking about chlorine, that will have some different property. Right? So that's how we are going to say that atoms of different elements will have different properties, but in the case of same elements, they will have same properties. Right? For example, the atoms of the element gold are different from the atoms of the element silver. Obviously that the atoms of the element gold will have different properties. We are comparing them to the element of silver. Right? They have different properties. Now moving ahead, you can see here the fourth characteristic says that an atom maintains its properties through all physical and chemical changes. Like if I am taking any atom, so it will be going to maintain its all properties throughout the physical and throughout the chemical changes of the processes. For example, a piece of iron has the property of being attracted towards a magnet if this piece is broken down into smaller pieces. Now if I am breaking down that piece into smaller pieces, right, if I am breaking down that iron piece into further more smaller pieces, what will happen, that I am doing some kind of physical change on it. So that physical change is not going to affect the property of iron, that is, it attracts itself toward the magnet, right? So the smallest particle, that is the atom of iron, will retain the property of the iron. This means it will be still attracted towards a magnet, right? So it hasn't lost its on property, right? And that's why we are saying that an atom maintains its all properties throughout all physical and chemical changes. Now moving ahead, we have the next definition, that is, we can say the big brother of atom, that is molecule. Okay, so when I am going to talk about molecule, this is a generally combination of atoms of same elements or different elements. So what you have learned from here, that atom is the smallest particle which cannot exist independently, or we can say which may or may not exist independently. But in the case of molecule, what happens, that a molecule can be defined as the smallest particle of an element or a compound that has independent existence and shows all the properties of that substance. Like if we are talking about the molecule, so that will be the smallest particle of any element or a compound, right? But in the case of atom, we have studied that is the smallest particle of the molecule exactly, right? So that is how we are going to define molecule. But now we are going to study the characteristics of molecules as well. The very first characteristic says that molecules are formed by the combination of the atoms of the same element or of different elements. I have told you that a molecule is going to be formed, or it is going to be like created by the combination of the atoms of the same elements or the different elements. Like if I am talking about hydrogen, so hydrogen molecule will be formed with a combination of same elements of hydrogen. But if I am talking about the molecule of carbon dioxide, that will be formed with the combination of carbon and oxygen, like the different elements. Atoms of different elements are combined in a ratio, right? And after that, a molecule of a compound has atoms of different elements combined in a fixed whole number ratio. I have told you, like in the case of CO2, we are combining carbon and oxygen in a particular ratio, that is 1:2. And that is what written here, that a molecule of a compound has atoms of different elements combined in a fixed whole number ratio, right? Moving ahead, we have the third characteristic, that the atoms in a molecule are held together by attractive forces called chemical bonds. Obviously, if we are going to say that the atoms should bind each other, so there will be some kind of chemical bond in between them, right? If I am talking about carbon dioxide, so obviously carbon is going to hold both the oxygen with a kind of chemical bond in between them. Okay. After that, the fourth point says that a molecule of a substance can be represented by its molecular formula. Whenever we are going to represent the molecule of a particular chemical compound, so we have the chemical formula of that one. Like in the case of carbon dioxide, we have the chemical formula CO2. In the case of methane, if I am taking the case of methane, I have the chemical formula CH4. If I am taking the case of sodium hydroxide, I have the chemical formula NaOH. So that's how we are going to represent any chemical compound with the help of its chemical formula. Okay. Now, moving ahead, we are going to study about the key points that are given here. There are two key points that is written on your screen, that the smallest particle of an element is its atom. So whenever we are taking the case of element, the smallest, the very smallest particle is it what? The atom, right? The next one is the smallest particle of a compound is its molecule. And when we are taking the case of compound, so the smallest particle becomes what? Molecule. Molecules are made up of atoms. We have studied that these are made up of the atoms of the same elements or the different elements, right? So take the screenshot of these points. These are very important. Now moving ahead, we have the difference between the atom and molecule. So there is a table on your screen in which the difference between atom and molecule is given. So you can see on your screen that the very first point over there says that an atom, about atom, we are going to study about the atom firstly, right? So an atom is the smallest particle of an element that generally does not exist independently. Yeah, we have studied that atom is the smallest particle of a particular element that generally cannot exist independently, right? But in the case of molecule, a molecule is the smallest particle of an element or compound that exists independently. Now in the case of atom, when we talk about the reactivity, so these are highly reactive except noble gas atoms. Now noble gas are what? Helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon. These are the noble gases, right? After that, when we talk about the molecule, so these are less reactive. Now taking the case of atom again, these cannot be subdivided, but when you will study the atomic structure, you will find that atom can be divisible, right? Atom is divisible into three other subparticles, that is electrons, protons and neutrons. That is other topic, we are going to study that as well. But now you have to study that atom cannot be subdivided, but in the case of molecule, they can be subdivided into atoms because those are made up of the combination of atoms, and that's why we can divide them into the smallest particle, that is atoms, right? After that, atom has no chemical bond in an atom. Like if we are talking about any atom, so they have not any kind of chemical bond. Obviously there is a case of like if I am taking the nitrogen, so that will not have a bond in between those other parts because there are not further particles in that as well, right? So that's why there is not any kind of chemical bond in atom. But in the case of molecules, what happens? We have to bind two or more atoms, right? That can be of the same elements or that can be of the different elements. So when we are binding the two or three atoms, or we can say the many atoms, so that's why there will be some kind of chemical bond in between them, and that's why atoms in a molecule are held together by chemical bonds. Okay, I hope you understood this topic. You can take the screenshot of this. So when we are talking about the molecules, we are going to study the molecules of elements firstly, then we are going to study about the molecules of compounds. But in the case of molecules of elements, what is given here? The molecules of an element are formed by the combination of two or more atoms of the same element. Now, if I am talking about the molecules of element, it means that I am combining two or more atoms of the same element, right, in a particular state or in a fixed ratio. That is what is a molecule of element. For example, a molecule of hydrogen is made up of two atoms of hydrogen, and a molecule of oxygen is made up of two atoms of, a molecule of ozone is made up of three atoms of oxygen, right? So if I am talking about hydrogen, it is made up of two atoms of hydrogen. If I am talking about the molecule of oxygen, it is made up of two atoms of oxygen. And if I am talking about the molecule of ozone, now the formula of ozone is O3, and that's we are going to tell about this, that it is made up of three atoms of oxygen, right? So here you can see that when I am taking the case of hydrogen molecule, there are only the atoms of hydrogen. That is what is written here. Obviously, the molecules of an element are formed by the combination of two or more atoms of the same element. We are taking the same element. Like in the case of hydrogen, we are taking only hydrogen. In the case of oxygen molecule, we are taking only the oxygen element, right? And in the case of ozone as well, we are taking the oxygen element, right? Now, moving ahead, you can see here that we have the next topic, that is atomicity. Now, what is atomicity? Firstly, I have told you that if I have H2, if I have CO2, if I have O3, so the number of atoms combined in a molecule, right? When we talk about the number of atoms combined in a molecule, and if we want to say a particular name for that molecule, so that is what is the atomicity of that molecule, right? The number of atoms present in a molecule of an element is called its atomicity. So if I am talking about hydrogen, there are only 2 atoms, and that's why I am calling it as a diatomic molecule. Wherever we have 3 atoms, we are going to call it as a triatomic. Wherever we have only 1 atom, so there we have to call it as a monoatomic, and wherever we have 3 or more atoms over there, so we can call it as a polyatomic molecule, right? You can see here, however, noble gases such as helium, neon and argon exist as single atoms. I have told you that the noble gases are not that much reactive, and that's why they will not form a chemical bond with other atoms, and that's why they exist independently in a particular monoatomic form, okay? And after that, these single atoms are also the molecules of the respective elements and are called monoatomic molecules. Mono means single, right? So wherever we want to write helium, neon, argon, like the molecules of helium, neon and argon, we are going to write it as what? He, Ne and Ar, only in the singular form, right? After that, you can see here elements such as oxygen, hydrogen and nitrogen exist as diatomic molecules. Why I am saying so? Because whenever I am writing the molecule of oxygen, I have to write O2. Whenever I am writing hydrogen, I have to write H2, and in the case of nitrogen, I have to write N2. So here you can see we have 2 atoms in a particular molecule, and that's why we are calling it as a diatomic molecule, right? Where the di means 2. Next, an ozone molecule consists of 3 atoms, hence it is triatomic. So whenever I am taking the case of any molecule which have 3 atoms in it, like if I am taking the case of CO2, if I am taking the case of O3, so here you can see total 3 atoms are there. Here you can see total 3 atoms are there. Okay, here there are 3 atoms but of different elements, like 1 of the carbon and 2 of the oxygen. Here all the 3 atoms are of the oxygen, but the molecule will be called as a triatomic molecule. Why? Because we have in total 3 atoms over there, right? Where triatomic, in which tri means 3. And generally wherever we have 3 or more atoms in a molecule, there we are going to call them as a polyatomic molecule. For example, a phosphorus molecule contains 4 atoms. Like in the case of phosphorus, it has 4 atoms in a molecule. In the case of sulfur, it has 8 atoms in a molecule, and that's why we are going to call them as a polyatomic molecule, because wherever we are going to see that there are 3 or more atoms, that molecule will be called as a polyatomic molecule. Okay, I hope you got the point that what is atomicity, what are monoatomic, diatomic, triatomic and polyatomic molecules, right? Moving ahead, you can see on your screen that we have the atomicity of some elements, and we have graphical representation of the diagrams of there. You can see the first one is helium. I have told you that helium is monoatomic, so we are going to take the single atom of that particular element, right? It is monoatomic. When we are going to call about the hydrogen and oxygen, we have 2 atoms like here, and we are going to say that these are diatomic. Then I have a case of phosphorus. It has 4 atoms in a particular molecule, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's why we are going to say that as a polyatomic molecule. Okay, you can take the screenshot of this table as well. Now moving ahead, we have the molecules of a compound. Now what are molecules of compound? So whenever the atoms of 2 or more elements combine, they form a molecule of a compound. In the previous section or in the previous slides, we have studied the molecules of elements. There we have studied when 2 or more atoms of the same element combine, they form the molecule of a element. But when 2 or more atoms of different elements combine, they form a molecule of compound, right? So some examples are as follows. A water molecule is formed by the combination of 2 atoms of hydrogen and with 1 atom of oxygen. Like if I have water molecule, there you can see that there is a combination of 2 different elements like hydrogen and oxygen, and we are taking 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. So that's why this is a molecule of a compound. And in the case of carbon dioxide, that is formed by the combination of one atom of carbon with two atoms of oxygen. You can see here also that we have two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen in the case of H2O, and in the case of CO2 we have one C and two oxygens, right? And that's why we are saying that these are molecules of compounds. Why? Because they have different atoms of different elements, right? Moving ahead, you can see here that we have molecules of some compounds on your screen. The very first compound is water, in which the formula is H2O. So there you can see two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen is combined, right? So that's why we are going to diagrammatically show this like this. And this is triatomic as well. Triatomic, because there are total 3 atoms in that molecule, right? After that we have carbon dioxide, that is CO2. Obviously this is also triatomic, 1 carbon 2 oxygen. Then we have hydrogen chloride. In the case of hydrogen chloride, we have 2 atoms, that is of a hydrogen and chlorine, and that's why we can call it as a diatomic molecule, 1 hydrogen and 1 chlorine. After that we have nitrogen dioxide, where we have 1 nitrogen and 2 oxygen, that is NO2, and in total we have 3 atoms, and that's why we are going to call it as a triatomic molecule. I hope you got the sense of this topic. You can take the screenshot of this. So next we have the molecular formula as the topic, in which we are going to study that what is molecular formula and how the molecular formula is formed. What is the significance of a molecular formula as well. Okay, so the molecular formula represents the composition of a molecule of an element or compound. Like if I have taken the case of the molecule of element, I have H2, I have O2, I have O3, I have N2. So in these all cases, what we are going to see, like from these all chemical formulas or the molecular formulas, you are going to see that what is the actual composition of the molecule of that element or a molecule of a compound, right? In the case of molecule of elements, you are going to see that what is the actual number of atoms of that particular molecule. Like in the case of hydrogen, we have 2 atoms in a particular molecule. But in the case of molecule of compound like CO2, NO2, CH4, there you are going to see the composition and the constituents as well, from which that compound is formed, right? So that is what is the significance of a molecular formula. The molecular formula of a substance is also known as its chemical formula. Okay, so the other name of molecular formula is what? It's chemical formula. So this is what we have studied in this session. In the next session we are going to further continue with the last topic, that is molecular formula. Till then what you have to do, you have to revise the whole session. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much. Bye bye.